From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.
Hello and good morning. This is Craig Allison with your Morning Pulse for Wednesday, February 11th. Before we get into our big headlines this morning, question of the day was nearly 75% of people who own one of these have given it a name. What is it? Well, I thought the answer would be a little bit more obvious from either a car or a boat, but turns out answer this morning was a guitar. I didn't know anybody named their guitar or instrument nonetheless, but that is quite the interesting one. So if you name your instrument, I would love to see what your name for your instrument is under today's question of the day. But that being said, for question of the day, if you want to participate, we do this every morning. Be sure to head over to the 1011 Facebook page. Be sure to put in your guesses. We reveal some of your guesses as well as the answer during 1011 this morning. Now, that being said, let's get right into your local headlines for the day, starting off with some news from overnight. A Lincoln intersection shut down after a crash last night brought down a light pole. Police say just after 8 p.m. yesterday, a car drove off the road and hit a light pole at the intersection of North 51st Street and Holdridge. The pole then fell into the street, and the intersection is closed until LES crews can get the pole repaired. Now, we have yet to see if there are any updates inside of this as well. We got this video this morning just before our 1011 This Morning newscast, so you can see some of that work was still being done from the previous night, but I'd say a safe bet to avoid this area if you can. That being said, the driver of the car walked off with minor injuries. Again, we'll continue to keep you updated on this intersection, but for the time being, I think it's a safe bet to say try to avoid this if you can. It looks like a lot of work's being done after that light pole was struck down. Now, happening today, an update in the case that we've been following several agencies searching for Hannah Neville and her husband, Roberto Tanner. A couple went missing weeks ago, and 2 people from Lincoln are now facing charges connected to their murder. Lincoln police plan on giving an update on their latest developments during their morning briefing at 9:30 a.m. So let's catch you up to speed on what we know so far. Neville and Tanner were reported missing at the end of January. Then, last Monday, investigators say the couple is likely dead and 2 people were taken into custody. 24-year-old Sterling James and his girlfriend, 22-year-old Sadie Titus. Human remains were later found in the same area police were searching in Saunders County, but the identities haven't been released. We'll be live streaming that on our 1011 Now app and on Roku, same place you're viewing this, so be sure to stick with us at 1011 for this update coming later this morning. Now over to your third story in our top 6 stories from this morning. In national news, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson came up short for the Trump administration yesterday. The House rejected a rule with language that would have blocked House votes objecting to President Trump's tariffs through the month of July. GOP leaders said the U.S. Supreme Court should have time to consider the matter. Now, 3 Republicans joining with Democrats were enough to sink the vote, including Representative Don Bacon from here in Nebraska. Democrats are now expected, with this momentum, to push forward with forcing votes seeking to repeal Trump's tariffs. Your fourth story this morning, a man from Texas has been arrested while driving through Lincoln after deputies say he was found with over 120 pounds of marijuana stashed inside of his van. Lancaster County Sheriff's Office made the traffic stop a bit after 2:30 Monday afternoon when a vehicle was speeding through a construction zone. According to an affidavit, law enforcement says the driver told deputies he was transporting 120 pounds of hemp to Omaha. That's when the deputy deployed a canine to sniff out the van. Deputies then say they found 6 cardboard boxes towards the back of the van filled with 125 pounds of marijuana. Driver has been identified as 59-year-old Robert Pendel and was arrested on 2 felony drug charges. His next court date is set for March 11th. To your fifth story in more traffic news, if you're driving north on 40th Street this morning, be on the lookout for this massive hole in the pavement near the 40th and Normal Boulevard intersection. Lincoln Transportation and Utilities says it's not a pothole, but street damage from a 100-year-old stormwater pipe. Officials say the area settled, which undermined the pavement, causing a collapse. They say crews have been out to the area for an inspection. And this lane of traffic will be closed until Friday. So this is going on throughout the week. Crews are now working to repair the pipe and the street. Just again, if you're in that area, be on the lookout. 40th and Normal Boulevard for this construction. Just be aware of the cones and move with the traffic. Now wrapping things up with your final story. I know you probably don't want to hear about this, but it's a good story. Now, while on the bad side, the Husker men's basketball team lost last night following a huge comeback in the second half of their third top 15 matchup at PBA this season. One fan was in the stands cheering the team on all the way through, as she's been doing for the past 50 years. Among the sea of red in PBA was 93-year-old Mary Ann Winningoff, a season ticket holder and loyal fan since before the players on the floor last night were even born. Mary Ann first secured her spot among the Husker faithful with her husband a half a century ago. From this seat, Mary has seen 28 losing seasons, 6 coaching changes, and now what is already the most successful season in program history.
Well, this is a lot more fun. If someone had ever told me that I would watch Nebraska basketball and they'd have a perfect season through the first 20, I wouldn't have believed them. Sorry.
And I mean, hey, she's got that. She witnessed all 8 of Nebraska's seasons, ending with an unsuccessful trip to the Big Dance. But this being said, this season, when the Huskers are back in the round of 64, she says she's keeping her hopes realistic but high. I mean, hey, if anyone's the judge of this season, that is sure to be Mary. She has seen it all in these past 50 years. Just such a sweet story there, and just such a representation of the Husker faithfulness to the team. That's going to be your morning pulse for this Wednesday morning. We'll wrap things up with a look at your 7-day before we throw things over to Brandon Rector. Again, mild temps here.
Good Wednesday morning. Meteorologist Brandon Rector with you in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. We're going to have variable cloudiness today, but overall many of us should be mostly sunny to partly cloudy with south-southwest winds at 5 to 15 miles per hour. As we head into this evening, there is a 20% chance that we might have some rain in portions of northern Nebraska. I think outside of that, it's a 10% chance or less that we see some precipitation. Temperatures at noon look to be in the mid to upper 40s. It'll be seasonably mild again this afternoon. Temperatures in the 50s at 4. And by 8 this evening, we are in the upper 30s to mid 40s. In Lincoln for today, the temperature should warm up to 54 for a high this afternoon. That's 15 degrees above average for this time of the year.
From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse.